Hello and welcome! Today we're going to talk about a grape that is, believe it or not, absolutely everywhere. And yet it's somehow one of the wine world's biggest secrets. It's a story of mistaken identity, amazing versatility, and a comeback that's happening right now. So let me just start with a question for you. What if one of the most important, most widely planted grapes on the planet was just hiding in plain sight? What if you've had it a dozen times but it was called something else? Or get this, it was the secret ingredient in some of the fanciest drinks in the world, and you never even knew it.
Well, that grape is real, and its name is Trebbiano. We're talking about a silent giant here, a real workhorse of the vine world that's been around since the Roman Empire. But its story, well, it's anything but simple.
And that brings us to what I like to call the Trebbiano paradox. On one side, you've got one of the most planted white grapes in the entire world, with this incredibly deep, ancient history. But on the other side, its reputation is often for being, a little neutral, maybe even uninteresting. It's known for making a lot of wine, but not always the most exciting wine. So what is the real story here? This is where the story gets really, really cool. Because this seemingly simple grape, the one that makes so many everyday Italian white wines, is actually leading a double life. And to uncover that secret identity, we have to travel. We're going to go right over the Alps, leaving the rolling hills of Italy and heading straight into the super prestigious vineyards of France. And here it is, the big reveal. In France, Trebbiano goes by another name, Sauvignon Blanc. And as Sauvignon Blanc, it is the #1 grape, the absolute foundation for two of the most famous, most luxurious spirits in the entire world, cognac and Armagnac. Seriously, the very same grape. And this just lays it all out, right? You can see the two worlds of this one grape. In Italy, for a long time, it was pushed to produce huge amounts of grapes, which made for a pretty neutral wine. But in France, those exact same qualities, that super high acidity and clean, simple profile, were exactly what distillers needed. What was seen as a weakness for wine turned out to be the ultimate strength for making world-class spirits. But hey, let's not write off its Italian side just yet. Because when a winemaker really cares, Trebbiano is a master at showing off its terroir. That unique sense of place that gives a wine its soul. So let's jump back to Italy and take a little tour of its many different faces. Back in its homeland, Trebbiano is a total chameleon. If you go to Abruzzo, you'll find these really structured, minerally wines that taste like green apple and almond. Then pop over to Lazio near Rome, and suddenly it's fresh and light with white peach flavors. In Tuscany, it's not only in crisp dry whites, but also in the famous sweet wine, Vin Santo. And in Umbria, it can be shockingly aromatic and complex. It's the same grape, but the place completely changes the wine you get in your glass. I mean, the sheer versatility is just mind-blowing. It's not just about your standard dry white wine. Not at all. People are pushing the boundaries with it. You see, that naturally high acidity makes it perfect for making sparkling wines. Some winemakers are now aging it in oak barrels to get these richer, more complex versions. We already mentioned the sweet dessert styles, like Vinsanto, and lately it's even become a star in the trendy world of skin contact, or orange wines. It can pretty much do the whole shebang. Which, of course, brings us right back to that first big question. If this grape can create so many amazing styles of wine and be the base for the world's best brandies, why do so many people still think of it as just a simple bulk wine grape? And the answer, a lot of the time, is pretty simple. It's all about the yield. Trebbiano is a super vigorous vine. It just wants to grow and produce a ton of grapes. But if you let it go wild, the vine spreads its energy too thin, and the flavor in each grape gets diluted. And that's how you end up with those kind of bland, uninteresting wines. The secret is all about keeping that energy in check. But that's all changing. Right now, there's a new wave of winemakers who are leading a quality revolution. They're determined to show the world what this grape can really do when you stop focusing on quantity. So how are they doing it? It really comes down to a 3-step process. First, they control those yields right in the vineyard by pruning the vines way back. This forces all the plant's energy into a smaller number of really high-quality, concentrated grapes. Second, they are obsessive about harvesting at the absolute perfect moment to get that beautiful balance of ripe fruit and zippy acidity. And third, they bring their A-game in the winery, using their skills to bring out the grape's true character, whether that's through a clean fermentation, a little bit of oak, or some skin contact. So, what's next for our underdog grape? Well, The road ahead isn't without its bumps, but honestly, the future looks incredibly bright. Let's be real, Trebbiano still has to shake off that old reputation as a bulk grape. It's also got to compete on the shelf with super aromatic grapes like Sauvignon Blanc that kind of shout at you from the glass. And, of course, like every grape out there, it's facing the huge challenge of adapting to a changing climate. But even with all that, there is this huge growing interest in authentic native grapes. People want stories. They want something unique. And as more and more winemakers put quality first, and as wine lovers like us get more curious, Trebbiano is just perfectly positioned for a massive rediscovery.
There's a quote that just nails it. Trebbiano is the grape of multiple personalities, with a rich past and a promising future. It's a survivor, it's an adapter, and it's a perfect reflection of both the land it comes from and the people who care for it.
So next time you're browsing for a white wine, maybe give it a shot. Look for a Trebbiano d'Abruzzo or maybe a great wine from Lugana or Orvieto. You might just be blown away by the complex, fascinating, and totally delicious wine hiding inside that bottle. So what do you say? Isn't it time you met this humble giant for yourself?